Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
And I'm only here for crypto. I'm Brittany Pacheco, and we are the Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are here today to discuss the new Superman movie, directed by James Gunn. It hasn't officially hit theaters yet. I got a chance to see an early showing, and that's why we're doing a non-spoiler or a spoiler-free review. Brittany actually hasn't seen the movie yet. Brittany, when do you think you'll see the movie?
I will probably see the movie after I come back from my vacation, which won't be until the 19th of this month. So, sometime after that, Justin. I can't make any promises how quick I
Yeah.
will see the movie, but I will watch it eventually
Mm,
for sure. And I am here to support you
mm.
with your spoiler-free review of Superman.
Yeah, so I'm not going to give away any like plot points or anything like that, but I can give you like an overview and some things I want to just kind of mention. This is my most anticipated movie of the year. I've been looking forward to this movie for 2 years since it was announced, since we heard about David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan being announced as Clark Kent slash Superman and Lois Lane. Those characters were announced a couple years ago, so I'm really excited for the film. Want to get to it. Again, spoiler free. So if you have questions, send them in the live chat. I'll try to answer them without spoiling anything. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody. I don't want to ruin your experience because my experience seeing this movie was actually pretty ruined. And not by anybody online, by people in person. Yeah. So when I saw this movie again, I saw the movie on July 8th. We're recording on July 9th. I went to one of the Prime member exclusive early access screenings for the movie Superman. I was super excited. I got there early, first one in the theater, and thankfully I was like, "Oh, there's no one seated next to me." I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." And the movie's about to start.
Oh,
It's one of those movies where the movie starts like right at time, like start right at 7. There's like a quick little trailer for like what's coming up from Warner Brothers Media. Then you have an introduction from the cast, James Gunn and David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan and Nicholas Hoult just saying, "Hey, welcome to an early screen of the movie. We hope you enjoy Superman." And the movie just starts. Well, there was a person who ended up sitting next to me, and this person proceeded to like make friends with this rando person proceeded to make friends with the rando person next to him, and they're doing like a live reaction podcast the whole movie. And this dude was loud. I mean, like he's just like calling out stuff and by the way, all his predictions were wrong. All of his like he had the characters' names wrong. Like there's a character in the movie Hot Girl, and like Hot Girl in there's various versions of Hot Girl, and he was calling her by the wrong name. And it's just like, oh my God, like this guy was so obnoxious, so annoying. At several moments, I looked at him, I'm like, hey man, I'm trying to like enjoy this movie. He's like, oh, okay. And I was like, I mean, I'm wearing a Superman shirt. I was the first person here, like, I kind of want to see this and hear this. Like, this is important to me. The guy continues, and then as the movie went on, and there's a lot of action in this movie, he just continues like yelling like "oh shit" and like 100 times, and there's not that many "oh shit" moments, and there's "oh shit" moments in the movie. Don't get me wrong; it's a very action packed film, but like honestly, the whole experience is ruined. I couldn't stop thinking about how annoying it was, and in my head, I'm just thinking, man, what would I pay to watch this movie by myself? Would I pay $100? Yeah, I would. Would I pay
mhm.
150? Probably. Like that's all I could think about. It really ruined my experience. Now, thankfully, I'm going to see this movie many more times this week, and but I wanted to put that out there first because there's no way that my experience didn't affect my view of the movie because this movie is receiving overwhelmingly positive reviews, and I enjoyed the movie. I like it a lot, but I don't love the movie. And I don't know if it's the movie's fault or if it's the chucklehead that was next to me that
Mm,
ruined it. But I mean, there are some legitimate things I have with the movie, some issues, and
okay.
I'll get to some of that. But I want to start out just explaining my perspective. And like I said, I'm seeing the movie at least 3 more times. Tomorrow, I'm going to see it again. Friday,
You're
I'm
gonna say
seeing
it
it
3 more
twice.
times tomorrow?
No, 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 no. I'm seeing it
Oh god.
3 more times guaranteed I bought tickets for. So I'm seeing it
Okay.
tomorrow afternoon. On Friday, I'm seeing it like Friday morning and then Friday night. So I got 2 screenings that day. I'm probably gonna hit one on the weekend, maybe Sunday also. And by the way, we're doing our full spoiler review on Sunday afternoon at 2 PM Central Time. So please join us for the full spoilers, which I have a lot to talk about with the movie because there's a lot of stuff to spoil. But today, again, spoiler free. But yeah, I like the movie a lot. I mean, I really appreciated a lot of moments, but I didn't get the full effect. Like I heard that, oh,
Yeah.
there's emotional scenes, and that didn't happen to me at all in this movie. And again, probably because I was just super pissed off the whole time. That was probably a big part of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just it honestly, I wouldn't say it's the biggest disappointment, but it's up there for me. It has nothing to do with the movie because I thought the movie was good. I don't I don't think it's my favorite James Gunn movie, which is saying a lot considering Superman is my favorite character. But it is a good movie. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. A lot of people are enjoying it, you know, but yeah, so it was kind of a tough time for me.
Mm,
Like I said, still got a chance to I'm gonna see it many more times. So I hopefully will get to the point where I love it. I like it a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's it's the most entertaining Superman movie ever made, without question. Is it the best? I don't know. The first Christopher Reeve movie is pretty iconic, and it's hard to top that.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a fun movie. I mean, it's a movie for all ages also. So I mean, yeah, there's a little bit of cursing here and there, and there is some crazy violence, but it's a fun film, and I look forward to seeing it again. Honestly, I wish I could have seen it again today before this review, so I could have given y'all a more accurate review of my feelings. Because one of my gripes with the movie, which I thought was crazy, going into the movie, like what I'd heard of the score and just the soundtrack was awesome, right? In the movie, I don't know if it's because of the person next to me or whatever, I didn't really feel the score much, and I'm like, "How do you not, like, have these, like, John Williams moments?" You know? Which which kind of reminds me of the Jurassic World franchise because those movies, even though they're in the Jurassic Park universe, they don't use the John Williams music very much, and I'm like, "That's the best part of these damn movies." Like, by far is the music. And this movie, it does use it, but I didn't really hear it. And then today they dropped the entire soundtrack. I've been listening all day long. It's awesome. I just didn't get to really experience it. So uh,
Mm.
I'm actually really, really frustrated, and I look forward to seeing it again. I might just buy out the whole damn theater. I don't know. Like I might just have to do that or buy out a whole row just so I can like be in peace, be in my own fortress of solitude to watch the movie. Um, Anyway, Brittany, do you have any like, and I have a lot. I'm going to go into the cast. I'm going to go into a lot of stuff here, but like on the outset, do you have any kind of overview questions that you want to ask that are spoiler free?
Just more comments more than anything.
Yeah,
So just to kind of piggyback on things that Justin has already shared, this is a spoiler-free review pod, as in the title, right? If you yourself have seen the movie and are watching us, joining us in the live chat, shout out to Yesenia and King B Johnson for joining us in today's live chat. They have been reacting to
yeah,
Justin's storytelling about his experience for the Prime screening for Superman. But again, if you yourself have also seen the movie and you're here watching, listening, or watching the replay,
yeah,
don't spoil anything for anybody. Please don't. Let's not do that here. This is meant to be fun, of course. This is spoiler free, so let's kindly keep it that way.
yeah.
That
Come back.
being said,
Right. Sunday, we're doing a spoiler pod. So we'll talk about everything on Sunday.
talk it as much as you want on Sunday
Yeah.
with all your spoilers and all that good stuff. So that being said, so Justin, knowing you as long as I've known you, for
Yeah.
those who are probably new here, welcome first and foremost. Also, consider subscribing to our YouTube channel and hit the like button because Justin just shared a really heartbreaking story about watching
I'm doing
his,
okay. I'm doing fine.
one of his favorite superheroes of all time in the
I
movie.
mean,
And
yeah,
Justin, shut up! I'm trying to get likes here.
go for it.
Jesus. That being said, I feel really bad because I know you. I know how irritating this whole
Yeah.
thing would have been for you, and how close to violence I'm sure you were.
Yeah.
So what you all may have just listened to and could possibly be witnessing is the origin story of Justin entering his villain era. And if you come into work the next time I see you, because it's gonna be a while before I see you,
Yeah.
if you come to work with a shaved head, I know it's on.
No, I don't think I could rock a shaved head. I don't think so. I think I I think I
I
need to
didn't
hear.
think Nicholas Hoult could, but hey, he
Oh no,
apparently
Nicholas
can.
Hoult, he's great. Nicholas Hoult
Yeah,
he's pure evil in the movie. He is
love
the
him.
best Lex Luthor by far. And
Love him.
we've had some great Lex Luthors. We've had some great Lex Luthors on TV. Michael Rosenbaum, of course,
Mhm.
legendary Gene Hackman in the movies. Um, yeah, no, he's great. But I did want to say just off the top, like I had my expectations for this movie were sky high, and like I understand that. I have to say that even though I had a bad experience with the people around me, it was the blow was softened by the fact that this movie is so positively received. You know, like
That's good.
because this movie, and I know this might some people might laugh about this, but I really think this movie compares very strongly to The Flash, which I love The Flash. In fact,
Okay.
after the first viewing, I enjoyed The Flash more than I enjoyed this movie. So,
Mm,
but I honestly think that The Flash, had The Flash been more of a success, The Flash really would have fit well in this universe as far as how they're playing this new universe. Who knows if they would actually done the crossover with, the timelines and whatever, but I,
yeah.
yeah, no, I really enjoyed The Flash, and, this movie's very close to that, but, just starting off from the beginning here, like, this movie, I think Thunderbolts is better. I like Thunderbolts as a movie better. Yeah, I do. Now, I may not feel that way by the weekend when I've seen Superman 4 or 5 times, but I think Thunderbolts is a really good movie, and I think so is Superman. But the issue with Superman also this movie is 2 hours and 9 minutes, which is like, "Oh, that's perfect running time." But there's so many characters, and but
Mm.
in addition to the characters, there's so
And there's
much sto
two credits, like
Yeah,
mid
well,
credit,
yeah,
post credit.
yeah, I'll get to that here in a second, but yeah,
Yeah,
this movie is like there's a lot of characters, which I know a lot of people are saying it's overstuffed. I don't think it's overstuffed. The problem with having so many characters is you have so much story, right?
yeah,
So, to
yeah.
me, this movie needed a little bit more space, and
Mm.
the Superman solo movies, like Superman 78, I think the first one was like 2 hours and 30 minutes. Superman Returns was like 2:35. Man of Steel was 2:24. This movie's 2 hours and 9 minutes, and I feel like it needed more time, and I know
Mm.
I've been following this movie for the last, year or so, and I've heard all these like, "Oh, this test screenings," and this movie was they had to cut 20 minutes, and I really think that they should have kept that 20 minutes because this movie it just moves. Like you're jumping on a moving train literally with the movie, but also with the universe because they're just throwing you into this new universe. And I do like the beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie has like kind of a crawl that explains like here's this universe and the number three is very important in this universe, at least in the crawl. And I don't want to spoil a lot of that stuff. I will say that like this is out there, but this universe has been around or meta humans have been in the DCU for 300 years and Superman's been around for 3 years. So that's what we get at the beginning, and that's how in the movie, like, the beginning is awesome. I think that's a great way
Okay.
to introduce the character. The music hits, it's awesome. The overall message of the movie, I really enjoy. It's very punk rock. I don't wanna give anything away. It's very, but it's very punk rock, and the end of the movie is very sweet. I think it's a very nice ending. Um, and like I said, I really like the movie a lot. My I wasn't totally able to give it a full review that I, will hopefully be able to give you by Sunday. But, you wanna jump in there, Brittany?
So, I mean, I'm still harboring on the fact that you just had a really unfortunate first time watching experience. Like,
Yeah,
who goes to a movie, a sneak preview, basically,
yeah.
to commentate the entire time
Well,
and not have any consideration for your surrounding audience, fellow fans who may
mhm,
be longtime fans or new time fans. You know what I'm saying? Like just the lack of consideration from people these days. And this is why I say I like certain persons, but I hate people as a whole because
yeah,
people suck. Okay. Absolutely suck. I would
mm,
have lost my GD mind if I was in your shoes listening and I don't pay good money to listen to another person's commentary
right,
unless I am there to watch a comedy troupe
yeah,
like
and
riff a movie. Like
and
there's a difference.
yeah, and this guy and the person next to him, this woman, they were so loud. It wasn't like they were, like, whispering to each other. They were just, like, shouting out things, and, like, it was oh, man, it was so annoying. But,
It's not like it's a live
no,
interactive sort of
it's not a live
experience.
reaction podcast. It's not. Like,
Well, beyond that, I mean, like,
yeah,
there's
right,
things like if from my experience, you go and watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, and there are actors who are acting out the whole thing,
right,
and
right.
they want the audience to be involved. There is a dif defining difference between that kind of entertainment experience and then watching a movie
Yeah,
to it I mean, ugh, okay, that makes me really,
yeah,
really
yeah,
irritated.
yeah.
So,
It was,
I would've been the Lex Luthor
it
in that
was, it,
scenario.
it was very frustrating.
God.
Um, but this movie, I will say that this movie is not anything like the MCU or even the DCEU. This is a different world. This is
Mhm.
the most comic booky movie I've ever seen, and I really do wonder how the general audience is gonna take it because, like you said, I went to a this prime screening, and when I go to see the Marvel movies and other superhero movies, I always see it the first chance I can, right? And
Yep.
usually those are labeled as fan screenings. And I have to say, the fan screenings are often the worst. They are. Like when I go see the movie later on in the weekend with a general audience, I never have any issues. People just watch the damn movie. And even if someone's on their phone, I don't really care about that as long as you're not talking on your phone. But
No,
like
that
these
bothers
fan
I don't wanna
well,
see the
yeah,
little light. I
I don't
don't
wanna see
see
it
it.
either, but, like,
No?
I'd rather be able to hear the goddamn movie that I paid for, and then,
Okay.
I can, like, look away to the light, but, because
Mm,
the screen is massive, So,
yeah, but still,
yeah,
that little
but
light is blinding.
yeah, it can be annoying, but, yeah, I really frustrating. I wish there was, like we were just, like, in pods or something where I couldn't see or hear the person, like a
Oh.
soundproof or maybe, like, headphones, I don't know. The
So I have a question
Yeah, go
for
ahead.
you, just talking about movie experience, because you and I have both experienced 4D. Is this
Yes.
the movie that if it's available in 4D, would you go watch it in 4D?
You mean like 40X?
4DX, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so I've only seen one movie in 4DX, and I saw Black Adam a few years ago by mistake, honestly. I didn't even know what 4DX was. I just picked the time that worked for me, and
I remember
um,
that.
it was kind of annoying, honestly, like, just the experience of it. Going into it, knowing what I know, like, I might see Superman in 4DX just because I'm seeing it in IMAX. I saw it in IMAX already. I'm gonna see it in 3D. I'm gonna see it in Dolby Sound. I'm trying to see it, like, in every format, so
Nice.
I very well
Screen
could see
Screen
it.
X?
What's that?
Screen X?
So at my Regal, it's not in Screen X right now. I think it will be next
Okay.
weekend, but it's not currently. I do like Screen X. I saw
Mhm.
Deadpool Wolverine that way, which is very
Ah,
cool.
nice.
I didn't
Yeah.
get to see Thunderbolts that way. I wanted to, but it just never really worked out. But no, I
Okay.
definitely will see Superman if it does go to Screen X. It probably will.
Mhm.
Um, Superman has the IMAX screens right now. Jurassic World, believe it or not, does not have IMAX. At least in my
Interesting.
here in Houston, I haven't seen anything on IMAX. So
And you go to
um,
the big theater, so
I do,
yeah.
yeah. Um,
Okay.
But getting back to the DCU and this new world, you're jumping into a world and it's not an origin story, right? It's not
It's
you're meeting
defined,
characters who live and breathe in this world, and
right?
it takes a little getting used to. Like, I think that if you didn't know much about Superman or didn't know much about these characters, you'd be like, "Oh, this is not the MCU, and this is not even the
Okay.
DCU. This is a different thing unto itself," which
Mhm.
is very cool, but also it takes a second to get used to it. And like I said, this movie is moving so fast, and there's so many characters, and there's so much story, and I think I couldn't really predict how this movie was gonna work or how it was gonna
Mhm.
play out. And I think the trailers did a good job because the trailers don't show a ton of like most of what you see in the trailers is from earlier in the movie.
Mm.
So I
Okay.
never got a really
Interesting.
good handle on what the movie was gonna be like. Whereas like there's a lot of other movies where like you see the trailer and you're like, okay, that's just the movie. This movie was not that way. There was some surprises. There's a surprise cameo early in the movie. There's a surprise cameo at the end. Um, my theater was cheering a lot, so people enjoyed the movie, not just at the
Okay.
very end. So, it's definitely a fun movie. It's definitely very entertaining. I think visually it looks really cool. It's a different visual look though than a lot of superhero movies. It's James Gunn kind of has a look. It's very similar to how the Guardians Volume 3 looked and
Hmm.
how Suicide Squad kind of looked similar. Like
Mhm.
I think it's a little bit higher level than that, but visually it's a stunning experience. Like I said, I couldn't hear the music that well or hear a lot of dialogue, and there's some dialogue early in the movie where it's it's not clear what they're saying, and it wasn't just because the loudmouth next to me, like, I just couldn't pick it up. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, that was kind of a tough part of the movie.
Mhm.
But my main problem is just there's just so much story, and to me, it kinda gets resolved very quickly, and
Mm.
there's a big reveal in the movie, in the story. You're like, "Oh, wow, that's a pretty." I mean, it's something that's been done in Superman stories before, but I didn't see it coming in this respect, and I was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." Then they kind of, like, just zoom past it really fast, and they don't drop it, but they maybe it'll pay off something else later on,
Mm.
but, like, there's just so
Okay.
much happening that it's hard to, I don't know. I wish it was, like, 2.5 hours maybe where they could, like, give a little bit of the breathing room and kind of, give some other characters a little bit more, but,
Mm.
but the movie's called Superman, and David Corenswet is Superman. I mean, he's awesome. He's great. I hope he plays Superman forever. I mean, as long as he wants to, as long as they're gonna have Superman movies, I hope he's Superman because that guy is Superman both on
Mhm.
screen, off screen. If you've watched
Okay.
any of the, like, interviews he's given recently, like, or any, like, TikTok videos or shorts or whatever, he's wholesome, pretty funny guy. Like, the cast definitely got along, you could tell from this movie,
There's
and,
chemistry. You could
yeah,
see it in their promos for this, like, all the little reels or shorts that Nicholas and, sorry, what was her name?
Rachel Brosnahan.
Rachel,
Yeah,
their camaraderie and just they look like they're having fun, especially between, David and Nicholas. Like, I think I think they're
yeah.
so silly together and they're so funny. But, so not that I have a whole lot to offer, obviously, for this particular pod because I have not seen the movie,
Mhm.
but for David Cornsweet, the first time I obviously ever heard his name was when he was announced to be Superman, right? And I'm like, "Oh," my first thought, "What an unfortunate last name." I don't know why. That's just, that was
Yeah.
my very first thought. And then recently, I happened to watch a movie that has him in it. It took me a second to, like, figure out, like, why does he look familiar?
Mhm.
I recently watched Twisters, which I know has been
Oh, yeah.
out for quite some time. My husband put it on, and I was like, I didn't really wanna watch it, but then I, like, sat down and started watching it, and then I saw him, and I'm like, "I've seen that guy before." He looks like Superman. That's because he is Superman. So
Yeah.
that was kind of funny to me. Um, I'm very curious to see his Superman, period,
Mhm.
because in Twisters, he's kind of a jerk
Yeah, he's
in the
kind of one of the
movie.
bad guys. Yeah,
Well, he's kind of like the Carrie Ellis from the first movie, Twister, right? And
sort of,
he's kind
yeah.
of dressed like him. He's very like, "Hey, we got to do this because we've got to bring data back to the investor and blah blah blah." Blah. And doesn't really care. Like he doesn't care what needs to happen in order to get the job done. And yeah, he's just a jerk in the movie. Not that he has a whole lot of screen time, but the
Mhm,
little that you did get of him, it's a bit of a jerk. And I'm like, I don't like him. He can go die. It's okay. But knowing, obviously, that he is Superman,
mhm.
I'm like, okay, how good of an actor are you if you can be two different personalities, right? Be a jerk. That's kind of like the character from Twister, the Carrie Ellis character,
Mhm.
or are you better in that type of role, or are you going to really succeed as Clark Kent Superman, right? So I'm very curious to see who or how he performs, right? Just because,
Well,
yeah.
I can tell you he's awesome. Like, he's the best part of the movie, and I like I said,
Sure.
I really like this movie. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
I need to actually be able to watch and hear the movie. That's all I need is if I can actually do that, then I can properly assess how I feel about the movie. But, no,
Sure.
he's great. He comes across as Superman from the second. I mean, honestly, when they
Yeah.
cast him and I started seeing, like, the videos of him and, like, just getting ready for it, him talking about the character, I was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna do it." And,
Hmm.
it's like, yeah, it's hard to say, like, okay, is he gonna be the greatest Superman? It's tough because Christopher Reeve is, like, always gonna be there,
Big shoes to fill.
but he's great, and there's been so many great Superman. I liked, Tyler Hoechlin on Superman and Lois recently,
Hmm.
Tom Welling back in the day with Smallville. There's a lot of
Smallville, yeah.
Smallville influences on this show.
Mm,
I mean,
okay.
I grew up watching Lois and Clark with Dean Cain. I like Dean Cain on that show. really, I don't think there's been a bad Superman. I like Brandon Routh as Superman Returns. He had his one shot. Henry Cavill, of course. But there is
Which
some.
the rumor, I think, and it may be confirmed, but you can tell me otherwise. David Corenswet had actually reached out to Henry Cavill
Yeah,
once he was cast as Superman to get like
yeah,
advice, I guess, right?
yeah. He wrote letters to both Henry Cavill and Tyler Hoechlin because Tyler was the TV Superman on TV.
Right.
Henry Cavill was, of course, the previous
Movie.
Superman
Hmm.
movie
Hmm.
actor. And yeah, so he reached out to those guys, got some advice, and they basically gave like Superman advice of like, hey, like we don't need to tell you anything, like just be
Oh,
yourself and do a good job, which he does. He's excellent. And it's really like you're like, man, if the rest of the movie is terrible, which it's not, at least they got Superman right. And they can
okay.
take that character and just go wherever they want to with it. So no, he's
So
awesome.
I have another question. Hopefully, it's not spoiler free. And if it's going to be spoiler free, then just like
No, hopefully it's not
mum
spoilery. Yeah.
spoilery.
Yeah.
Sorry. Just mum's the
Yeah.
word. You mentioned about some special cameos and some things that maybe you didn't
Right.
necessarily foresee coming. There, of course, have been rumors about possibilities of certain people making
Mhm.
a cameo into the movie.
Mhm.
Can you comment on that?
Well, I mentioned there are cameos. There's a cameo in the beginning of the movie or early in
Yeah,
the movie and then late.
but do any of the rumors that we have heard about
Well,
certain people?
I don't wanna speculate on that because, like, I don't wanna give up anything.
Sure.
Although there is a character reveal later in the movie that I there are, like, 4 options of who it could be, and I was right, but it's the kind of like the not the lamest answer, but it's kinda like the, "Oh, okay, it's not as good as it could be." But that that character reveal, I think, because of what happens in the movie, could become something special down the road, and that's all I wanna say. I don't wanna get into that because we'll talk about that on Sunday when we do the full spoilers. But yeah, there is a mass character that, people have speculated, "Oh, who could that character be?" And, you do find out in the movie, so
Okay.
no surprise there. Um,
Okay.
yeah, no, David Corenswet does a great job as Superman and Clark Kent, although I will say in this movie, for the movie called Superman, he is Superman almost all the movie. There's not a lot of Clark Kent, which I was kinda disappointed by, or at least in my opinion, there wasn't a lot of Clark Kent. The
Okay.
Daily Planet cast is great, but again, besides Lois, you don't get well, Jimmy Olsen has some good moments, but, like, you don't get a ton of them, and I think that's just because, like I said, obviously the movie is about Superman. These are side characters, and who knows? Maybe they get a spinoff on HBO Max, or maybe, they're gonna be in this franchise for years to come with the movies
Mm.
because Superman will obviously be one of the focal points of the DCU. But,
Okay.
yeah, no, the cast is really solid. Rachel
So,
Brosnahan, I think, is the best Lois Lane ever, just like I think Nicholas Holt's the best Lex Luthor ever.
mhm.
Um, those really the big 3 of Superman, Lois, and Lex they're awesome characters.
Wait a minute.
No, 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 and we're at there's a 4th, and we're about to talk about that one, and trust me.
Okay.
And speaking of
Okay.
the 4th, it has 4 legs, Krypto the super dog. Brittany, we'll talk about Krypto now, but, there are a lot of people who, when the trailers came out for this movie, they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh god, there's too much dog, there's too much dog." I have to tell
Uh,
you, in the movie, the dog is used perfectly. The dog is in the movie just the right amount, not too little, not a ton, but
just right.
more than I
That's
expected, but
right.
it's very well executed. The dog is like super cute and there's a lot of great moments.
Man's best friend, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if
No,
you're just going to see Crypto, you're gonna have a good time. Yeah.
I'm gonna have a good time because I'm only there for crypto.
Yeah.
Yeah, and too bad you missed out on my little super dog visiting the office the other day
Yeah.
while
I
you
did.
were out. So the one true pup, Luna, made an appearance at our job. So
Yeah.
shout out to Luna. She's over here banging on the doors to let me
Yeah.
let her in.
Hopefully she'll be in the sequel. I really hope that we see your corgi in Superman 2 or whatever they call this the sequel, if there is a sequel.
The world's
Um,
not ready for
no.
Super Luna. No,
Yeah,
I'm not ready for it.
yeah.
But good. I'm
There's
glad. I'm glad to hear that there's like a good amount of crypto, and it's like not a reuse and not just.
yeah,
Also, by the way, the promos that included crypto, like running
mhm,
around on like a photo shoot and that kind of thing, and just causing havoc and just being a dog, I thought was super cute. I mean, CGI just looks really sharp with that dog, and I'm fairly impressed. Fairly impressed. How does the CGI compare in terms of
I think it looks
everything?
excellent. I think it looks awesome. Like, I did not notice anything visually that looked weird. Like, I know
Other than Nathan Fillion's hair.
yeah, but that's comic accurate though. That's
I
Guy Gardner,
know, it's
which
just crazy.
that's a good transition because he's the leader of the Justice Gang, which, that includes Hawk Girl, played by Isabela Merced, who we've seen recently on The Last of Us season 2, and
Mhm.
Eddie Gathegi, who plays Mr. Terrific. Um, the Justice Gang is funny because Guy Gardner, he thinks he's the leader, so he's named him the Justice Gang. Isabella Merced's character, Hot Girl, does not like the name. She's every time he says Justice Gang, she's like, "Oh, working title. That's a working title. It may not be what we call each other." Um, that group is really fun. Again, they're not the Justice League yet. Who knows when or if they will become the Justice League? But these characters, they're used very well in the movie.
Okay.
Again, you selfishly you could say I want more of all these characters because they're all great. They're really like the character work is great. There's just like there's a it's a time crunch. There's just so much happening. This movie just goes. Like if you had to go to the bathroom in this movie, this would be a tough movie to get up and walk away from because there's
Oh
so
lord.
much happening. Yeah. So
That's
prepare
good to
yourself before. Yeah.
no, that's good to know because the fact
Yeah.
that I at my Regal, I
Yeah.
always get a drink before I walk into the movie because why not?
Yeah.
And at some point during the movie, I need to excuse myself. And that happened during Thunderbolts. I did it timely where, spoiler guys, if y'all haven't seen the Thunderbolts or
Mhm.
whatnot, you're about to get slightly spoiled. There's a scene where Bucky comes in and he like basically gets all the Yelena and everybody and ties them up and what have you. And there's something that happens within a building. That's when I left. I have no idea what happened. I don't know what conversation was had during that moment because I had to go. So, but good to know. Good to know. To not do that for this movie if there is no ample time to walk out of there.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much action in this movie. And this is like a high fantasy world. It's like I said, it's more comic booky than the MCU by far. And I think you just have to get used to that. And like you can't do like oh, that would never happen. It's like, well, none of this would happen.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah,
giant monsters and there's metahumans who can fly that have been around for 300 years. And then, like Superman is relatively like the new kid on the block. He's only been around for 3 years. So um, but then
interesting.
But then you have,
So
like, one of the quote unquote "quiet moments" where it highlights the relationship between Lois and Clark, and you have the interview scene, which you've seen in the trailer, which is
yeah,
a great scene, which is like,
great scene.
it's probably I mean, in the trailer, it's great, but in the movie, it's about I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10-minute scene, and you definitely don't wanna miss that because some of the best stuff in
Mhm.
the movie is in that scene, so
Well, just the
and
transition of him going from Clark Kent,
yeah,
and then she's like, "So Superman," he's like,
yeah,
"Miss Lane."
right. But there's even with that, there's stuff that they don't answer.
Right.
There's important stuff about them coming together that you don't have the answer
Mm,
for, and that's the stuff where it's like, again, if we had 20 more minutes, maybe you can have some kind of explainer, not explainer, but some kind of scene that references this or whatever. But I know, like I said, James Gunn did not want to do an origin story, and
mm,
I guess even the
okay,
origin of their relationship is kind of a mystery. And I don't want to say anything else because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But no, the big three, like I
okay.
said, Clark, Lois, and Lex are very important. Obviously, Superman, Lois, and
Yep.
Lex are the main three characters, and they carry the film without question. Um,
Good.
there is a mid-credit scene. There is a post-credit scene. Now, I
Okay.
will say that James Gunn has said that when he did post-credit, mid-credit scenes at Marvel, he got burned once with Guardians 2, where they promised Adam Warlock. I believe it's Guardians 2, and he ended up paying it off in Volume 3, but that was years later.
Yeah, that
And
was.
so his like motto or his creed for these movies is if I do a post credit or a mid credit scene, it's self contained in the movie. And I will
Okay.
say that like the mid credit scene, I think you should stick around for both of them, right? But
Right.
if you don't see them, you're not missing a ton from the movie. But I do think that most people will really enjoy the mid credit scene, so stick around for that. Um,
Okay.
but again, it's not setting up anything for what's coming next. It literally that's not
Self-contained.
that is not a concern of the DCU right now. Now, who knows in the future, it may become, it may be a thing where it's like, Marvel had initially had a plan, but then they had to like recalibrate, like
Right.
they're
Yeah.
constantly evolving and the
Yeah.
DCU's rules may change as well. So I would
Mm,
just say, you know what, we've been trained by Marvel to stick around through the credits. To me, I don't mind it because a lot of times the people that don't know get up and get out of your way and you have more freedom to kind of like sit there and hang out, look at your phone, whatever. Um, but yeah, stick around. I think you'll enjoy them. If
good
not,
to know.
you'll find them online. There's really not
Yeah.
a ton to these scenes, but I enjoyed them. So there's that
Well,
much too.
I don't go looking on social media anymore. I was actually telling George, our fellow watcher, I guess, that I just
Yeah.
stay off of Twitter these days for several reasons, but mainly because of the fact that there's so many spoilers and so many uh, images and video that's shared that it just takes away the experience, right? And unfortunately, that happened to me recently, or not recently, but when Sinners came out. Like I
Yeah.
saw a clip on Instagram, and then I was like, oh well, okay, but so but how did we get to this point? I finally watched Sinners because it dropped on Max over the holiday weekend, and now obviously I know everything about Sinners.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's primarily why I just like stay off Twitter mainly because there's so much commotion going on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there definitely is. And it's funny because social media plays a part in the movie. And
Of
I think
course it
it's
does.
I don't wanna spoil it, but I do appreciate that David Corenswet's take on social media in real life and Superman's take on social media in real life is very similar to my take on social media in real life. So I will say I really appreciate that moment. And by the way, this is a good point to tell you we're on social media. So if you want to follow us, we have our handles down below in the description. So be sure to check us out on all of our platforms that we're on.
Yep,
There we go.
that's Facebook,
Facebook,
Twitter,
Twitter,
X,
Threads,
Threads, and
and Instagram. Yeah.
Instagram. I will admit we're not very active on Threads, but
Yeah. Yeah.
we're there. All right,
Right.
go give us a follow. Go give us subscribe here. Give us a like. Give us a follow.
Yeah. What matters is we're active on YouTube and Spotify and
Yeah,
YouTube or Apple Podcasts. So
yeah,
yeah, that's really where we want to get to you. So
yeah.
but no, their social media does play a role in this movie. Um you can tell James Gunn obviously he's dealt with a lot of online hate and
Oh yeah.
part of like what's great about Superman is Superman is a symbol of hope. He does make you wanna be a better person, really, like, if you like the character, and David Cornsweet's version is very much in that vein. The character is, he's a little depowered, he's not as powerful as previous versions of the character, which I appreciate because a
Hmm.
lot of times people, whenever they talk about Superman, they go, "Oh, well, he's boring because he has all the powers and he can't be beaten except for kryptonite, and he's the Boy Scout," and it's like, well, they depowered him a little bit. I mean, he
Oh,
gets beaten up a lot in this movie. I mean, obviously, part of, like, getting knocked down is getting back up, right? So,
yeah.
that's part of the Superman, motto also is, just the kind of the never give up. So, I
Mhm.
do think that makes it a more, not relatable because Superman's not relatable to anybody because he can
But it's
fly.
more real.
Yeah,
It's
it makes it
more
well,
authentic.
it creates, tension and stakes in the movie. You're not
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, well, Superman can just save the day and stop everybody," and I
Hmm.
mean, he has help in this movie, in a variety of ways from the Justice Gang and, of course, from Krypto. So, and other characters. So, it's, uh, it's fun to watch. He's not, it's like I think Marvel did a good job of that too. They didn't overpower really anybody, and in fact, a lot of times they depowered people. Like the Scarlet Witch is way depowered, and Vision is way
Mm.
depowered in the movies, but it works. Like it
Hmm.
in Infinity War, like they're very powerful characters, and then Captain America is the one coming to help them, and then Falcon's helping them, and it's like based on the power set from the comics, they wouldn't need anybody's help. I mean, Wanda can snap her fingers and end everything, not Thanos style per se, but she can do a lot of stuff. So I do appreciate it with Superman. They kind of recalibrated him down a little bit to where it's more of a challenge for
Well,
him to
and from what you shared of this is basically him in year 3, right, of being
yeah
Superman,
yeah
right?
yeah
It's I'm it, begs the question of like, in relation to the Robert Pattinson, the Batman, right?
Right.
That
Yeah.
version of Batman is like in year 2 of
Yeah.
Batman, right? So I'm just curious. I mean, obviously done by 2 different people, 2 very different themes
Yeah.
in terms of what these characters are going through, but I'm just
Mm.
curious, having that knowledge of this is year 3 Superman, like how does he compare uh, in relation to that of the Batman?
Well, I mean, here's the thing with that is they're separate universes. They're not even I mean, now some people think that
Right.
maybe the Batman will join and
God,
join
I hope
Superman,
not.
right? Yeah, but,
God, I hope not.
there's actually, I was about to say this, but we have a new comment here from Derpy Entertainment saying, "After watching the Superman movie, Pattinson will not work for the DCU." I totally agree. I thought that before. I mean, if you watch The Penguin, you're just like, "How can we have this, like, realish gangster kind of world when there's
Mm,
300 years of metahumans flying around and doing whatever?" Like,
yeah.
it just doesn't make sense, and that to
It
me,
does
like
it wouldn't bridge very
yeah,
well.
and
Yeah, for sure.
that's something where
For sure.
again, this is spoiler free, but if you go in expecting anything related with Batman in this movie, you're gonna be disappointed because like
Mm,
that shouldn't be on the table. Honestly, they've got a separate Batman franchise, which I think the Batman did very well. Matt Reeves is working on the Batman Part Two, which I believe is going to come out in October of 2027 now. So it's going to be a couple years, but that's in the works. And I think it's okay if we have a Batman separate universe and then we have a new Batman join the DCU, which I think that's what's gonna happen. That's what should happen.
mm,
Who's gonna play that person? Who's gonna play Batman? I have no idea. There's a lot of options on the internet, a lot of fan casting. To me,
mhm.
I've said this my whole life. I don't think Batman I mean, honestly, I think almost anybody can be Batman. You can put the mask on anybody. I don't think we've ever had a bad Batman in live action. I can't think of one, honestly. Like, people will say, "Well, George Clooney," because the movie wasn't very good, but it's like, was he a bad Batman though? Like, I mean, if the movie were more serious, don't you think George Clooney, who's a very good actor, don't you think he could play whatever? Like it's more of the tone of the character than it is the actor or the person to me. Because of the cape and the cowl is so important with Batman.
Ooh. So Derpy Entertainment
Yeah,
here made the comment. I feel like the version of Batman Gunn is going to go for is the Brave and the Bold, the animated series,
yeah,
the one with Blue Beetle. That's an interesting
yeah.
take.
No, that's been talked about. Is that's what they
Okay.
potentially the movie would be called The Brave and the Bold, and but that would include an older Batman and a Batman that has oh god, what's the kid's name? It's Taya al Ghul's son. Oh god, he's like the third or fourth Robin. Why am I blanking on his name? Oh god, this is annoying.
Dick Grace.
So, not Dick Grayson,
Okay.
not Jason Todd, but the
Damien.
Damian Wayne. There we go, Damian Wayne. Yeah,
I should have
sorry.
known that because my friend,
Yeah,
really good friend of mine, named his son Damien
Damian.
after
Okay.
this character. Jesus.
So that was the original plans when James Gunn and Peter Safran took over DC. James Gunn did this like rollout. We actually reacted to it a couple years ago where he talked
Nah,
about
remember
here's all
that.
these projects.
Yeah.
I think that might change because what I think is going to happen, and this has been speculated a lot. This is not my own, this is not my own theory, but like if Superman's a hit, and I hope it is, there's a good chance we might have a Superman Batman movie, but it's like a world's finest where they team up. It's not a BVS, not a Batman versus Superman, which we got
Got it.
in the DCEU. We have a movie where
Martha.
they team up from the beginning and they're friends, and I think that could definitely work. But honestly, for me, I'm not in a hurry to get to Batman. There's so many great DC characters. We've got another Batman on his own universe. I don't need a ton of Batman. Like we've had a lot of Batman over the last 20, 30 years. Like it's okay if Batman takes a back seat. The problem with that though is obviously Batman is the moneymaker. He is the main
Yeah.
character in all of Warner Brothers, honestly. I mean, he's like the main character. So we'll see what happens with that.
So Derpy says, I wanted originally Jake Gyllenhaal as Batman, but
Mhm.
because of October Sky. But now I was thinking of Glenn Powell if he
Yeah.
wants the role. And Glenn Powell is like hot right now. Like, I'm not talking like in the physical sense. I'm talking like just he's got a lot of movies going on and what have you.
Yeah.
Kind of not trying to get off topic, but I saw something supposedly where rumors are going about a reboot for Indiana Jones, and that either Glenn
Yeah.
Powell and Chris Evans are kind of like the top choices.
Oh, Chris Evans really
Personally,
well. Huh.
yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting, like Chris
Yeah.
Evans. But I mean, I think Powell kind of fits the vibe a little bit more personally. And this is just after watching Twisters, so I
Yeah.
don't know. There's like that sense of ruggedness that I feel he could bring to the indie character really really well, and I think really easily. I feel like I don't know, for Chris it would be just different, but not in a good way. Like I feel like you
Yeah.
can put a actors can act, right? You give them a role, they can act, but sometimes the role just isn't for the actor. I said this in a pod with Amber about Mads Mikkelsen as Gellert Grindelwald. That's
Mhm.
just my personal opinion. He is a very classic villain type. Obviously, he's been in the Bond movies as a villain. I just didn't feel like Mads was a good Grindelwald. But that's just my personal opinion, right? Everyone else can have their own, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I digress. But I would actually be curious to see Glenn Powell step into the role of the Dark Knight, personally.
Yeah, no, that's a good question for everybody. Who would you like to see play Batman in the DCU? We've got Derpy and
Yeah,
came in again with I can give my Bat Family fan casting if you want. Yeah, go for it, Derpy. Let
go
us
for it,
know
please.
who
Let us
do you want to
know.
have? Who's Batgirl? Who's Damian Wayne? Who's
Who's
Batman?
Alfred? Who's Alfred? I want to know who Alfred is.
I mean, we've always had great Alfreds too, honestly.
Dude, Jeremy Irons, I think was great. I mean, I'm always gonna love Michael. I can never pronounce his last name. Michael Goff.
Scoff. Yeah.
Goff. Yeah, I've always. I mean, he's my Alfred naturally, but Jeremy Irons, I think, did fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with Batman talking about, fan casting. One of the things I don't like about the Brave and Bold idea necessarily is if you're like I hate that they're skipping over Dick Grayson and Jason Todd. Like I would prefer to have, Dick Grayson, if he's not Robin, at least Nightwing. Have Nightwing because we've never had Nightwing in live action. I mean, well,
Good
we
point.
have in Titans, but not in the movies. So
So Derpy is
Mhm.
I'm a fan of you. Hopefully you're a fan of us now. Please subscribe if you already haven't done so. Derpy says, I wanted Rafe Fiennes,
Mhm.
Voldemort himself, as Alfred.
I
I'm here
think
for it.
I think that might have been something that was rumored for the Nolan trilogy, maybe?
Oh, that would
Or
have been. Yeah, I think you're right. I think there was another British actor who was in the running, and then it was Michael Caine that they ultimately went with, but I can't remember
yeah,
who it
well, no, that
was.
was Anthony Hopkins. Yeah.
Anthony Hopkins would have been
But
brilliant.
but
Let's
but
just be real.
Maybe Ray Fiennes was gonna be the the Alfred
Raja
for
Ghul?
no, the Alfred
No.
for Ben Affleck, which went to Jeremy Irons.
Oh,
Yeah. I don't know,
interesting.
maybe
Okay.
honestly, I might be making that up. I don't remember exactly, but I feel like his name has been tied to a lot of these things in the past, and obviously it's never really played out that way,
Love it.
but we shall
Yeah.
see.
Well, while Derpy is going to share
Yeah.
their Bat family castings, Justin, is there anything else about Superman,
Yeah,
spoiler free, of course, that
yeah.
you? Yeah.
So I talked about the score. I like the score. I didn't really hear it a ton in the movie, not because of the movie's fault, but I do wanna say that, like, there's a couple needle drops in the movie that, they didn't hit for me because they're
Oh,
songs I weren't familiar with. So,
oh,
I guess it really wasn't a needle drop in that perspective, um, but yeah, a lot of punk
oh,
rock songs from bands I've never heard of, and I like when you compare it to Guardians, where the Guardians songs were songs that we'd all heard, but like you probably couldn't name the band who did these songs. Like this movie,
me.
yeah, this movie has a couple of needle drops that just are they're not songs I was familiar with. So I don't know that a lot of people are going to know these songs. I mean, they're good songs, but I was kind of surprised by that. There wasn't something recognizable in
Okay.
there in the film. Yeah,
We have a very important question in the
yeah,
chat, Justin, from Yesenia, who just she knows us
yeah,
very well. She knows you very well.
yeah,
And if y'all haven't checked out our shorts regarding this next topic, please do so. Justin
yeah.
has recently gotten into popcorn buckets. So, Justin, Where are the popcorn buckets?
Oh, I've got a lot of them. Trust me. I'm working on some stuff. So yeah, so the big three chains are Cinemark, Regal, and AMC. So I have I have almost everything Cinemark has put out there, and I'm gonna do a Cinemark short probably tomorrow. Okay. Um, for Regal, I have a couple items, and I'm still working on a couple more before I do my Regal short. And AMC, I don't have as much,
Okay.
but I will by the end of the weekend. So look out for the shorts. I do have the crypto popcorn bucket though. And I don't have it next to me right now, but I have it in my room here. So you're gonna see that stuff very, very soon. So I appreciate the question from you, Sonia. Yeah.
And yes, there will be shorts, obviously.
Yeah.
Lots and lots and lots of shorts. And
Yeah.
also, Justin, if at some point you don't do the Michael Scott, I declare bankruptcy thing, I'm gonna be very
Oh,
disappointed in you.
I'm in the red. I'm in the red already. Yeah, I have so much Superman merch from this movie. I mean,
Oh,
like
God.
this is like one of like 10 shirts that I bought for this movie. Not kidding. I've
Mhm.
had the hat for a long time. I've got the hoodie. I mean, so many action figures, so many popcorn buckets and merch and stuff. Like it's pretty crazy, honestly. And I'm gonna try to
Well,
do some shorts on a lot of this stuff when I get a chance. And
that sounds about right.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
that being said, I don't know why my camera's out of focus right now. Back to Derpy.
Mhm.
Quickly, Glenn Powell as Batman.
Okay.
Nightwing is kind of controversial casting, but Dylan O'Brien
Yeah,
for
he
them
was
would be
he was
Nightwing.
rumored. He was rumored they were talking about doing a Nightwing movie back in the DCEU days, and he was
Okay.
the the fan cast. He was also one of the fan cast for The Flash when they were talking about
Oh,
maybe replacing
okay.
Ezra Miller, which of course didn't happen, but he was
Right.
one of the people that people were fan casting.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Batgirl would not be Batgirl, apparently. She would be Oracle.
Okay.
Oracle. So
Oracle. Yeah, no
Oracle,
Oracle.
yeah.
Yeah.
Instead, and that would be Sophie Turner.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Yeah. Red Hood would be, now I'm probably mispronouncing, Dacre
Mm,
Montgomery. As I had to look up who this person is. Australian actor. So
okay.
forgive me if I've mispronounced their name. His name, Tim Drake, uh, David Muzos,
Yeah, from Gotham. I know who he's talking
Gotham.
about.
Just
Yeah,
because it could be an Easter egg.
could
Okay, I'm
be.
glad y'all
Yeah.
know what's happening here because I certainly don't. And Damian Wayne, I originally wanted Gordon Cormier,
Cormier. Yeah. Cormier
Cormier,
probably,
but
yeah.
he got tall.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with Gordon, but I am familiar with the guy from, Gotham. The Gotham kid, he might be too old and tall also because he's that was a few years ago.
Okay,
Yeah,
I had to
so
look up who this person is as well.
yeah,
And Avatar: The Last Airbender
okay.
is was he like the lead in that movie? Please let me know or let us know in the live chat. Um, but interesting. Very thank you for taking the time to share your fan casting for the Bat family with us. That's awesome. Yes, I guess yes to the Avatar Airbender. He was the lead in that movie. Okay. Well, thanks again, Derpy, for taking the time to chat with us and share your thoughts.
Yeah, one of
And
the final things go ahead, Brittany.
Yesenia says, I have a pink cape.
Okay. Are you gonna wear it to the theater?
I think you
Yeah,
should.
I think you should, Yesenia.
I think you should, Yesenia.
Rock the pink Superman cape.
Rock the pink Superman cape. Yeah, please do that for them. And if you have a tiara, just like, do your thing,
Oh,
girl. Do your thing.
speaking of the cape, I have a cape blanket from this movie. So, I'll be showing that off at some point as well. It's very cool. I got it
I'm sorry, you
from
have a cape blanket.
the blanket with the
Is it like
Superman
my Harry
logo.
Potter robe that's like the blanket thing
No,
and has the sleeves? Oh, okay.
no, it's not a what are those called? Slanket? Not slanket, but what's the other one?
Snuggie?
Snuggie. Yeah, it's not a Snuggie. No, it's just straight
Did
up
you call
blanket.
it a blanket? What the hell?
You never heard of Slanket? That was like the competitor
No.
to Snuggie. Yeah. It's real. I'm not making this up. Yeah. Yeah.
That is hilarious.
'Cause it was
Sorry, I'm
like
just trying
a
to get my camera in focus.
yeah.
Nope, it's not
So
meant to be, apparently. Hello, everyone.
it's okay. We're wrapping up here in a second. But yeah, no, I do have the Superman red cape blanket that I got at AMC. Actually, I had to order that. So
Mhm,
but no, there's a lot of great merch out there, a lot of cool stuff. I have a lot of it. So you'll be seeing that very shortly.
mm.
And I guess finally I want to mention, like, obviously I was so excited for this movie that I read there's a prequel novel for this movie. They did the same thing for the Batman. And I would recommend this book. It's called Superman Welcome to Metropolis. And it's a pretty quick read. Um it's considered a junior novel. Uh I really enjoyed it. I think honestly, like in some ways, I think that maybe if you think that this movie is kind of jarring because you're just jumping into this world, the way this novel is written, it's talks about Superman from day one in Metropolis. His first day becoming Superman, talks about him facing a villain, a Metallo, which we've never seen in live action. I mean, we've never seen on the big screen in live action. Um, and it has the Justice King in that book. It has a lot of Lex Luthor stuff. It's a really good kind of like primer for this film. So if you have a
Nice.
chance, it's available. I got it on my Kindle, and the audiobook is also available. You can check that out. It's like a 2-hour listen or something. So it's not a long time to get through it, but really good stuff. And I really like. I mean, obviously, I knew a ton about this movie going in, but having read that book, um, gave me even more appreciation for this world because it's a brand new world for all of us.
I'm just glad you're reading.
Yeah, yeah.
So
But,
proud of you.
otherwise, like, Brittany, you have any other final questions for me or any other comments?
I don't think so. I mean, again, this is a spoiler-free
Yeah,
Superman movie reaction. I'm very sorry that your reaction or your first time watching this was not the best.
no,
Hopefully, the 500 other times that you're gonna go watch this movie will be better. Let's
yeah,
just face it. That reel that I sent earlier in our group chat of
mhm,
walking into Superman in a different movie theater,
mhm.
that's 100% going to be you. No doubt
Yes,
about it. But anyway, I hope those experiences will be better and you'll get to thoroughly enjoy the whole movie, including the score, of course. But I, when we did an earlier a pod earlier this year about what movie we're most excited for the summer, Superman, Fantastic Four. I actually don't remember what I said. I'm not gonna lie, I really don't remember what I said. um, but I think I probably was a little bit more excited about Superman just because Fantastic Four has let me down numerous times with its reboots and such. But I'm hoping Superman is going to surprise me, and that is because I have chosen to walk into movies with no expectations. Because if I have expectations, I'm going to be very upset by the end of it. So I advise the same to all of you to go watch this movie with little to no expectations.
mhm,
Take it in because this is probably not going to be like the Superman that we've all have seen and get the origin story and all that. Justin said as much. So that being said, we're going to invite everyone who is here today. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us. And if you're going to go watch the movie, come back to this channel on Sunday to join Justin and hopefully Frank,
yep,
who will be traveling. They're going to do a complete review of Superman. Sunday, that's 2 p.m. Central Time.
mhm.
If you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification button. That way you know the next time we're going to go live, right? So hopefully you will be there for that come this Sunday.
Yeah, thank you, Brittany. Yeah, I would say in closing, like, this movie, it's like picking up a comic book and just, like, jumping into a story. That's what this is.
Kaplow!
It's once you get used to it, it's pretty exciting, honestly. I enjoyed the movie quite a bit. I just didn't get to experience it the way I wanted to, and hopefully that'll happen this weekend when I see it 4 or 5 times to really get a full grasp on the film. So, but again, I do really enjoy seeing the fact that everyone is pretty much liking this movie or enjoying the movie. There's nothing worse than like I said before, I was super high on the Flash. I still love the Flash, but it is a bummer when the rest of the world's just like making fun of it, doesn't appreciate it. And even Thunderbolts, where it was highly, critically acclaimed, but didn't do well at the box office, and people are, giving Marvel a hard time. And it's like, I thought that was one of the better Marvel movies. To me, it's top 10, 15 that they made out of the 36. So
Okay.
this one, at least people will love the movie right now. That's all I can ask for. And I think I'm gonna love it too. I just need to see it a couple more times and really
Mhm.
and actually get to, see it, hear it in its entirety. So
Yeah.
having said that, appreciate everybody who joined us today. Oh, Derpy Entertainment, love the Flash also. Very cool. Well, Derpy,
Awesome.
please subscribe because we are a pro Flash channel here on YouTube. When
At least
again,
Justin and I are.
yeah,
We can't speak for the other watchers, but we at
yeah.
least are pro
I'm
Flash.
telling you, if you really like the Flash, you're really going to enjoy this movie. I feel like this movie connects with the Flash. Could have connected with the Flash so well, but obviously that's not going to happen. By the way, the sirens are on my end, so don't worry about it. I've always got something going on in my neighborhood. So
hey,
anyway,
thanks for the sub.
yeah, we do
Derpy,
appreciate
appreciate you
that very
being here.
much. Yeah. So thanks, Derpy. Thanks to Yesenia. Thanks to King B. And anyone else who we didn't mention. I think that's all. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for
if
joining us.
you joined us, if you're watching the replay, leave your comments down below about, are you excited for this new iteration of Superman? And once again, no spoilers, please. This is spoiler-free pod review.
Yep.
And join us once again this coming Sunday for the complete reaction and review of Superman. Once again, subscribe, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You can find all of our social media links in the description box down below. And you can also check out our audio podcast available to you on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Give us a follow, give us a 5-star rating.
Yeah. Thank you, Brittany. Yeah. One last comment here from Derpy talking about Clooney, how spoilers for The Flash, how Clooney is the final Batman we see in the movie.
Oh,
I
God.
think he could have done a great job. There's so much more about The Flash that, never came to light. The fact that Michael Keaton shot all these extra scenes they didn't use. The fact that Sasha Kaye shot a bunch of scenes they didn't use. The fact that Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot were in more scenes. Obviously, Henry Cavill wasn't in the movie, although he shot some scenes for the movie that we'll never see. So, huge bummer. But the fun of that movie is definitely in this movie, in Superman. So, so again, thanks to everybody for joining. Thanks to Brittany. And so for Brittany, I'm Justin saying thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time. Don't forget to look up, everybody. Have a good night.